After the 2024 election that Trump won, the pair hit the links to discuss a second-term agenda for the resurgent president, and Graham had lots of advice. In an extensive interview Tuesday in the Capitol Hill office, Graham recalled pushing Trump to blow some S up, you know, to combat drug trafficking. I remember that some things were really blown up in the international waters, boats that were alleged to be coming from Venezuela and from other South American countries, allegedly that those boats had drugs and all that. So Graham was one of those that advised Trump to blow some things up, and Trump followed that advice. Then he said, this article says that Lindsey Graham said he talked about taking on big tech by challenging the legal underpinnings of their industry dominance. And he counseled Trump to build on agreements he had brokered between Israel and US allies in the Middle East. Let me take that again. So Lindsey Graham, according to this article, counseled Trump to build on agreements he had brokered between Israel and United States allies in the Middle East. That last part Graham emphasized will require confronting the elephant in the room. You have this Abraham Accord that Trump was able to get signed during his first term. The Abraham Accord was an accord whereby Israel was able to normalize ties with some of the Gulf states, and so that was a major achievement that Trump was able to do. So Lindsey Graham was now telling Trump that he needs to build more on that Abraham Accord and get other, it was UAE and Bahrain, and he was urging Trump to get other people to sign on that. So, and that Graham said that in order to build on that the elephant in the room has to be addressed. So Graham said, we were thinking about this early on how Iran is a spoiler for expanding the Abraham Accords and stability in the Middle East, he said. I told him before he took office, if you can collapse this terrorist regime, that's Berlin Wall stuff. Remember the Berlin Wall that divided West Germany from East Germany, we had the Cold War, and at the fall of the Berlin Wall that was led on by US President Ronald Reagan, was a key achievement of the Reagan administration, So Graham was telling Trump that if he can collapse terrorist regime as is alleged in Iran, that will be Berlin Wall stuff. That it will be so consequential that it can be considered like the equivalent of the collapse of the Berlin Wall. So then we have President Donald Trump on Tuesday posted the historic signings. Okay, this was just a description of the description of the Abraham Accord, where the President Trump was able to get Israel to normalize relations with some Arab countries, So going back to the article said that launched an ongoing conversation that continued for months, after first telling Trump of, if he's able to replace the regime in Iran, that it will Berlin Wall stuff, and it launched an ongoing conversation that continued for months, culminating a flurry of one-by-one lobbying in the last several weeks, according to Graham. The two also talked about Iran during a Thursday White House meeting that wrapped less than 48 hours before the beginning of the vast joint US-Israeli operation aimed at Iran's missile and nuclear programs, civilians and military leaders, as well as other key targets. So Lindsey Graham and Trump, they met 48 hours before the launch of the strikes, suggesting that Graham, after Trump won in 2024 November, Graham had been pushing Trump to do this. 48 hours before the strike, Graham was with Trump, trying to make sure that things go as planned. So, Politico says Trump's decision to go to war was the latest indication that hawkish voices he once publicly resisted, none louder than Graham's, have dominated the second-term decision-making. It was also a full circle moment for the veteran GOP senator who has spent decades pushing administration after administration to take military action against Iran with no success until now.